Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Howdy, howdy, everyone. We're going to do a very short preamble today because I already started a little late. But hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday so far. Yeah, today we're just going to do some more encounter writing. We have three more encounters to write. We'll kind of script out, outline the way I normally write because I know I'm never going to like properly read this anyways. But it helps give me a frame of thought on whenever I am actually going through the encounters to have like some level of like basis to like work off of. It is a banger. Like Josh A, I think just does an amazing job. Him and IMJ Kill, IMJ Kill, Josh A, and NF right now have been like my latest go-to like people to listen to. I don't know if like I don't think they're considered bands because they're like rap, but I think if I remember correctly, I think Josh A in his recent tweet said like he actually played every single instrument in these songs. Like he did everything himself for these songs. I think maybe minus the mixing. But yeah, it's just been absolute bangers after bangers, and I've been absolutely loving their music. I've just very much been on as I said, Josh A, IMJ Kill, NF binge. But throughout this little work along, if there's any specific type of music you guys would like to listen to, feel free to like drop a suggestion, drop a song name, and I'll add it to the queue. Because I know not everyone uh, likes the type of music I tend to prefer as like my working music. But yeah, as I said, sorry for being a little late. Me and my friends were playing a little bit of Labyrinthine this morning, and well, the last map got a little bit more complicated than we thought it was going to be. Took us a little bit longer to find the cosmetic, find the exit, all that good stuff. So, oh, we late on that, but no worries. Let's go ahead and switch on over. All right, cool, cool. I will eventually figure out how I want to properly handle because I wish I could like dark mode Google Docs. That'd help my eyes so much if I could. But then, chat could actually be legible again on screen. But I think because it is like borderline illegible already, we'll just go ahead and hide it. There's no need to show something that can't even properly be read, anyways. Are these messages important right now? No, they're not. Okay, I'm good. I can ignore this. Uh, you can dark mode Google Docs? Am I Zug Zug? I mean, that's very possible. Let me. Now you got me excited that I can actually dark mode this. How to dark. Oh my god, if my hands are on the keyboard properly. How to dark mode Google Docs. Because I remember I used to have an add on that used to dark mode things, but then, like, it got really wonky and wasn't working properly. Oh? Okay, so there's an extension. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm seeing that. Oh my god, yes, add. Add. Okay, it's added. Now there's what? Just refresh. Oh, there we go. Howdy, howdy, Dank. Sorry for the flashbang. It's been fixed. Thank you, Egg. Oh, look at that. Grayscale. Oh, much better. Now we can even read chat if we wanted. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's great. I don't like. Oh, interesting. I only see it on my side. You guys don't see it, but oh, because I the weird little cropping I did. But there's like whatever. I don't care. I can get over it. I won't get over it, but I'll get over it. Okay. So yeah, today we just have a couple of encounters to try to write something for, and then we should be fine after that. I think last time what we did was we split the screen just a little bit more. Wrong, wrong. I'm gonna crash out. There we go. Okay, that's how I set it up last time. That way we can roughly see. Actually, let's. I think I said this last time too. Go on. You there? you here, and then okay, and we still can't see chat because I was splitting the screen. All right, so yeah, we will remove chat. Unnecessary, but that's fine. That's fine. Uh, let's shift things just a wee bit because I don't need as much of the stat block. As long as I can read the whole thing, that's all we need. I wish I could get rid of a little bit of this sidebar here. I don't need. Can I? Oh, I can't. Oh my god, I'm absolutely just zugzugging it. See, I'm pretty sure I could. All right. Alrighty, alrighty. So yeah, just do a little work along. Uh, I don't imagine um it should take me like the full kind of like allotted time to get these three encounters done. Done, and then after this, I didn't even know Cork study. Yeah, it is. I very rarely do I see I have like a couple like comfort streamers that I'll watch like very rarely. But they'll do like co-working study and stream work-alongs where they're just either like planning some big project like in the background or whatchamacallit, words. Or they're doing things like this where they're like, planning like D&D sessions or something along those lines. I think it's an interesting like category altogether, where it's just like the idea is people are kind of meant to lurk. I mean, I think it's the same thing like ASMR. ASMR is also kind of like a just lurk stream category, but this is definitely like another just lurk stream category. Yeah, as long as you're not getting like sidetracked too easily. I think the idea is like if someone is a more like cozier voice, a little more calm, but listens to like calmer music, it probably works more effectively. Or if it's just like I know because I like very rambunctiousness and all that other stuff. For me, it's more the sense where it's like there are some like comfort streamers I have who are a little bit more chaotic, and the way they like interact with chat and all the other stuff kind of feels like yapping with coworkers at the office, anyways. So like to me, like that's kind of like why I will watch some of those every now and then. It's like, oh, I'm bored. None of one else is on. Like, let me just get some background noise. And it's like I enjoy this person's jokes and whatever. So then it has all that vibe. Howdy, Demora. Welcome on in. Yeah, comforting chaos. I'm 100% a comforting chaos type person. I always have like two or three different layers of audios playing at all times. Okay, now the album is just gonna loop. Uh, I am first get good. Congrats on the first. All right, let's play some of this, and then let's mix in. Uh, then let's mix in this song, cause I always find it good. Still lamenting. Well, I guess technically for Demore it'd be afternoon, because this is an early stream for him for once. Well, early for us, late for him in the appropriate way, versus normally where it's like later for us, super early for him. He's got a lot of time zones. Because, like, I recently realized that I know New Zealand is next to Australia, 10 p.m., perfect for 11 too. Oh, so yeah, okay, so yeah, you're 11 hours ahead. God damn. So I guess technically you're closer than Australia, 'cause I think Australia's only like 12 to 14 hours ahead, or at least where the Australian streamers I watch are. And then New Zealand, I think, is like 16 or 17 hours ahead of that, or 16 or 17 hours ahead. It's weird because like I realized that recently when I was following or looking at the schedule for one of the New Zealand streamers I watch. What's your minute clock on right now? 34. 11:34. I know there's like one region of Australia where they are like 12 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, so then you must be in that really weird little chunk time zone that's like X amount of hours and 30 minutes. Because one of the artists, Val, who you guys have seen in chat every now and then, he's in that weird time zone in Australia where it's an hour and a half hour. So it's time zones are so weird. I understand the purpose of them and like why they exist, but like, goddamn, did they like throw me off sometimes? Okay, okay. We gotta lock in. Gotta lock in. Gotta finish these three encounters, and then I can try to finish homebrewing up the two stat blocks I have for the other VTubers that I'm trying to make. And then after that, depending on how that video goes, if it's like well received, people seem to like that type of video where I create my own like homebrew monsters of VTubers and stuff like that. I have hopes and desires of branching that out into other VTubers because I think it'd be super fun and cool just to like have stat blocks for a bunch of different VTubers. They can like drop in as either NPCs or as fightable creatures in campaigns and stuff like that. Then I can like ease my way into like creating my own homebrew of like other video game characters and bosses like the Darkest Dungeon bosses, Monster Hunter monsters. Take my own take on those versus like I know you can easily find other people's like homebrews for those, but it's like maybe I don't agree with how they did it, and I can give my take, my spin on it. And, all right, what are the important things here? We have an AC 17, HP's high, whatever. I can run an encounter too. Exactly. Oh, that actually would be kind of cool. Yeah, yeah. Too much egg reference though. You've never played D&D? Oh, it's so much fun. Like it's definitely an experience that is very much crafted though by your party. If the group that you're playing with does not if they're not all like on the same page or if like you all don't like fully jive well with one another, then D&D can be a very daunting experience or like a very unfun experience because funnily enough, I think my very first introduction to D&D was not even with D&D, but was with the game system Starfinder. An old coworker was like, "Hey, uh, because I was working like third shift at that time, so I was getting off work at like 2 a.m. and we're all upset that like there's nothing to do. So he was like, "Oh, we're all kind of into like fantasy, World of Warcraft, that type of games. Would you guys be interested in playing Starfinder with us or with me?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? Fuck it, we ball." Um, he was our DM for that, and we played I think for like maybe 2 months, and then like the group kind of fell apart, mostly because our DM was having issues on his end, and we weren't able to play very much. So, but like the rest of the group was like, we still want to play something. Like this was an enjoyable experience. So then my friend Pam, she's like, "Oh, I'll step up. I'll be the DM. We'll play regular D&D." And we said, "All right, fuck it, we ball." And then we just started playing that. I had some fun encounters. Yeah, homebrewing is so much fun. And then so Pam just said she'd DM for us, and then we just started playing like that. Yeah, it can be such a fun and rewarding experience. For better or for worse, in both the first campaign that I've played in, and even my current one with Pam, the biggest issue is as much as we try to be heroes, like in the very beginning of each campaign, like I tried very hard to like actually be a proper hero. Like oh, we're gonna save the towns. We're not gonna do crime except for like minor petty shit because you always gotta do minor petty crimes. And I just cannot not be a war criminal. It very quickly became like level 3, level 4. I quickly went down the road of being a war criminal, and I'm like, ah man. I've never played D&D, but growing up, my brother used to play with me. It'd treat sharpeners and erasers as play. Yeah, I mean that's essentially the same thing. Like you don't always have to like play D&D with like proper minis and stuff like that. I know once there's a game store, like a game shop near me, where they have like open D&D tables every now and then. and I played at one of those a couple years ago, and it was actually really interesting. The DM had like the Mancala marble gem thingies. You had a whole bunch of those of different colors that would represent like NPCs, enemies, and different size enemies and stuff like that. So we just played with these little red and blue and like green marbles, and like that was a lot of fun. Love it so much. I play every other Friday. Nice, nice. Yeah, I play every Thursday with my DM, and then my group was running on Mondays. It's so much fun. However, Dank, because you mentioned and even Demora, um, if you guys ever want to try to play D&D, but like didn't want to like fully commit to finding a group, playing every week or every other week or whatever schedule it is, or just can't find a DM and whatever. In my opinion, the best experience or best way to experience D&D without actually needing a group is Baldur's Gate 3. It is based 100% on D&D 5e rules, which is what I'm creating this encounter for. It is such a good representation of the game. It has the exact same action economy. Okay, so yeah, if you love Baldur's Gate 3, that's literally D&D. The monsters in Baldur's Gate 3 are the exact monsters from D&D. If I remember correctly, I think even the stat blocks or like the statistics they use for each of the monsters, like their AC, the weapons they utilize, how many attacks they actually get, all that other stuff, is almost like one for one everything from D&D 5e because it was based off of it. The beholders, the races, the classes, the subclasses, the spells, every single part of it is D&D 5e. There is obviously like a couple like extra things that they added in there, like high ground advantage, giving you like +2 to your hit chance and stuff like that, or giving you disadvantage to your attack rolls, small things like that. And like if your DM is willing and wanting to add the little extra flavor of like, oh, enemies are standing in water, the lightning damage will like spread out to everyone in the water, stuff like that. So like your DM can, include those things, but in Baldur's Gate 3, those are obviously prevalent. But not every DM does that above and beyond for their tables. But it is such a fun and rewarding experience, in my opinion, if you find like a decent group to play with. It can just be so crazy. I love it. It's such a rewarding because it really is just like, what do you want to do? And then just go wild. Just go hammy sammy. You don't have to like there is no like quote unquote right or wrong way to do anything. It's just whatever way you guys manage to figure it out. And then I think being a DM is like just as rewarding, if not more so, than a player because well, it being a DM also has its frustrations because you have to like somehow wrangle everyone's, war criminal tendencies or whatever tendencies the party tends to have. And it's like like me as the DM, I might go, all right, the solution to this puzzle is this, and the party goes, no, we're actually gonna do this completely random nonsensical thing, and it's like, okay, well, I guess that works too, but like, there's no way I would have thought of that or I planned for that. It's so fun. I know tomorrow we're gonna be doing some more Elden Ring. I have the last two bosses on that. After we manage to finish that up, we will be playing Baldur's Gate 3 on Saturdays for a wee bit. I don't know if I'm gonna try to do like a full clear of Baldur's Gate. If I'm gonna try to do the whole game, I might try to do like, at least like Act 1 and 2 for a bit. Maybe then give it a little bit of break, do another RPG, then come back, finish Act 3, 4. I'm not sure exactly how I want to handle it, but we're gonna be doing a zero magic caster build for Baldur's Gate. There's gonna be nothing but martial classes, magic items, and magic scrolls. Barbarian fighter, double rogue. Just because I don't like monks, but I'm super pumped to do that run. Exact magic, like I as much as I dog on magic and how much I find it annoying in my current campaign, I do play a wizard. And I think that's why I dog on magic so much. It's like it's so not necessarily overwhelming, but there's just so much nonsense. It's like, all right, did I prepare the right spells? Am I using the right spell? Like, is this a save or suck? Like, I'm praying constantly, like, the spells like take effect and stuff like that. It's like they are powerful and they can be absolutely, encounter breaking, game changing stuff. But god damn, does it suck whenever, I cast a spell, they all, save so it doesn't take any effect. I'm like, cool, well, there goes my turn. I did nothing. Versus at least with a martial class, I can at least be like, all right, I can always stab. I can always stab something, and I should always at least do some level of damage or contribute some way somehow. Or, it's like I at least have a bonus action that's worthwhile to do something with. Whereas a caster, it's like, cool, I do nothing. All right. Acid immunity for level 5 party. I guess yeah, level 5 parties acid immunity. I'll definitely try to tune into your Baldur's Gate streams. Yeah, yeah. So those will be Saturdays at 3 p.m. CST. Um I normally save like my RPGs, my long RPGs for Saturday. I gotta replay with the new. Yeah, I saw that they did a recent like mega patch. So like I never beat the game the first time through with my friends. We got Act 4, and I think we were like maybe 1 or 2 hours away. That's kind of how I gauge the time. Howdy, Annie. Welcome on in. But we're really close to the end of Act 4, but we never finished it. So I was a little upset that we never finished. So like I'm super excited to actually finish it this time and see what they all changed. But I'm super pumped to see the some of the new subclasses that they introduced and stuff like that too. I'm so excited for Baldur's Gate. Because recently, some of my favorite streamers, they were playing Baldur's Gate, and just watching them, it's just like it was so funny seeing how like they approach things, because they do things obviously in a very different way than how I approach things. And it's like, oh, interesting. Like you guys are going about it this way, where like I would approach things in this completely other way. I think my favorite part though was like uh Mocha, the main VTuber that I was watching, or her perspective was the one I was like mostly focusing on. She was playing a rogue, and it was like, as a rogue lover, as a rogue main in every single game, I was like, "Go stealth, please, Mocha." And she like wasn't stealthy at every opportunity. I'm like, that's not how rogues work. But it was still so much fun. It was such a goofy, fun time to watch them play. Some of these games, exactly. You can, but again, because it's D&D, like there's so many different ways to go about it. You can like help the Grove this time, go against the Grove this time, help the Grove partially this time, and how you go about it can be so different every single time. Like it's so wonderful. And then apparently there was like a whole quest line with a hag in the swamp that I didn't even know was a thing. So I saw like a short about it like a long time ago, and I was like, wait, there's a swamp area? So I didn't even know that. And there's like a whole bunch of other apparently like early ways to solve the mysteries in the Grove. Like earlier, if you do like other side quests and stuff like that, I'm just like, oh my god, I didn't even know there were these other quests in this game. It's such a wonderful situation. Yeah, so we got. I think the only magic I'm gonna allow myself though in the Baldur's Gate run is very innately, or very initially, not innately, very initially, when you get Shadowheart, we will keep her in the party just at the beginning, just so I can use the spell command on Captain Commander Zizel Zaphadel, whatever the demon captain thing that's attacking the ship. Make him drop his sword, yoink that bitch, and then give that to Karlak. That's the only magic I'm gonna allow myself, is that one spell that one time. Just so I can yoink his sword. And then skedaddle skedaddle. Alright, so we have damage immunity. Exactly. Because like I did that in one of my solo playthroughs that I never finished, where I was a paladin. And oh my god, that sword just does so much damage early on. It is such just like an absolute just like meat grinder of a weapon. Okay, we have acidic blood. 2d8. I can type, I swear. 2d8 damage. I put the wrong attack. Multiple heads. Obviously, it's a Hydra, so it's gonna regen. Okay. 35 damage threshold for head. At the end of each turn, it grows 2 heads. Yeah. For each head that died. Okay, and it's regen 10. I've always felt like a lot of the monsters in D&D that have regeneration, I always feel like 10 was way too little hit points. It always feels like nothing. But I think it's also because like so many of my campaigns actually do go to level 20, and anything past like level 8, you're doing so much more damage per round that the 10 HP regen feels absolutely pointless if it isn't like at minimum a like 50-point regen, like a lot of the monsters my DM throws at us, where it's like, okay, cool, like they actually just negated my entire turn. Or like if we don't actively constantly attack this monster, it will just heal back to full by the time we get ready to like properly fight it. But at low levels, like 5, where this encounter is set up for, a 10 regen is kind of impactful. So I want to double check that I don't have a dupe encounter that I'm thinking of. All right, Dragon Speaker. Okay, this is the one I was thinking of. All right, so yeah, I want to make sure I don't double up on the quest idea for this one. This is per rounds, not per turn. There is a very big. So one of the biggest things, in my opinion, with D&D is like you can make a variant of it with negative regen of more HP and damage. That is a fun idea. Ooh, yeah. So like it would be some type of like undead. Actually, would it be an undead Hydra? Does that make sense? Hmm. Okay. 1 second. Now you got me. Now you got me curious. Uh, tools. Oh my god. Let's just. I don't like the D&D Beyond died enemy on its last head. Right. I don't like the D&D Beyond recently. Oh, by the way, that was this is my wizard's character sheet. By the way, um, I don't like that they changed how their site looks, and it bugs me. No, hopefully they didn't have anything important information wise. Uh, Wrong. That's not what I'm trying to do. Game rules. Monsters. Okay. I feel like in a situation like that where we have a Hydra or some sort. Ooh. Okay. I like the train of thought, Demara. So I think if in the stat block, because like it would have in my well, this is one of like my biggest pitfalls when it comes like when I create homebrew is it has to make logical sense to me and be like consistent in the world. Otherwise, I don't like things that like they just work this way because I say they work this way type stuff. So it's like for this monster, if it would have negative regen, but like a lot of HP and damage that it dishes out, I feel like it would have to have something in its either lore or it's in its stat block that like if it isn't constantly like eating something, it's having negative regen. You know what I mean? Like it has to have some way to like sustain itself. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense for it to have negative regen. But if we go with like some type of aberration, fiend, monstrosity, or maybe not undead, but like probably a monstrosity, fiend, or aberration type creature with a negative regen, like timer or whatever, but it like has to constantly feast. So it's gonna be like a large or gargantuan monster at like minimum size category. Howdy, howdy, Triton. Welcome on in. Thank you for the follow. If we did that, yeah, because it had to be like a massive creature because it's constantly eating, constantly consuming. It would also make sense for its like massive hit points. And then it would be losing HP every single round, regardless, unless, yeah, so it would have the negative region unless it was eating, or like it used its bite attack, or something like that, or whatever attack we decide to give it that lets it regen off of. Because it's a large creature, I think we'd also have to give it like middle or like mid of the road AC. So like probably an AC of 15 at the highest. Because it's supposed to be kind of like big and blobby and meant to get hit as it's constantly like necrotizing if it isn't eating. Ooh, okay. Let me write that down real quick. I'm just over here. Uh, Fiend aberration monstrosity negative region that needs to constantly consume. All right. Now I should at least remember. Why did Spotify crash? Why didn't the music stop? It makes sense if Spotify crashes for that to happen. Okay. Back to our current Hydra. So that's a really neat idea, Demora. Well, yeah, like at low levels, 10 HP regen is enough to more or less negate at least one character's attacks at this point. Because at level 5, martial classes should have multi attack, so they should be dishing out about anywhere from like base attack 12 to like 15 damage on average. Assuming they're not using spells, smites, or other things like that. So yeah, this would negate roughly one martial class. This should also negate, on average, a firebolt from most casters, because they should have 2d10 at this point for their firebolt, or if they're warlock, 2 bolts of Eldritch Blast. Yeah. So yeah, at low levels, 10 regen is absolutely massive, but by like level 8, it's nothing. It's absolutely pointless. Reactive heads. Okay. Multiple attacks of opportunity. 1 per head. And then yeah, no ambushes on this. No ambush possible. Multi-attack, 1 per head available. Okay. So those are all the key things about this stat block that obviously it's like the entire stat block. It's like the most important parts for me to know when it comes to creating this encounter and suggesting ideas for this encounter. It's like the party can't ambush this no matter what, because there's always going to. Actually, no, the party could try to always put it to sleep, and you can always have some type of quest where they're given an item that could put the Hydra to sleep. Imagine this. They spawn after you kill an enemy. A parasite with negative regen, but good firepower. Oh, like this Gyro Centipede. Ooh. Oh, that's actually like a perfect example of a creature that would like fit perfectly with a negative regen type thing. Yeah, yeah. So like you have the party fight, obviously not an elite encounter beforehand, but you put them up against some type of like normalish encounter. That way they use up a little bit of resources or a little bit, like on guard, on ready. And then the centipede like parasite comes in, swooping at the end of the combat. goes into the body and then like kind of takes over and does what like with the Yeti boss, or not Yeti, the giant ape boss in Sekiro. Ooh. Cuz yeah, like a lot of monsters like trolls have it in their stat block that if you don't hit them with fire damage or acid damage, which will, or whatever type of damage necessary that you need to negate their regen, even at 0 HP, they will regen back up to at least 10 or whatever their regen is, as long as it wasn't prevented by a certain damage type. So I think in this situation for the negative regen one, as a fun twist, we wouldn't make it the normal fire acid damage that everyone always uh, associates with canceling out regen. Change sets of affected hosts so that people fighting back can pick up on it. Yeah. Ooh. No, exactly. Oh, that's a great idea, Demora. I will definitely have to yoink that idea. Okay. So because this is an elite encounter, I do want to give some quest ideas on how we can set up the fight for this. So normally, under normal conditions, Iron Scale Hydra, because of their wakeful feature, they will always have one head awake, so they can't be ambushed in their sleep. However, depending on what quest we have, quest item quest with item given to put Hydra to sleep. Cause like now I'm thinking of that one scene in the Harry Potter movies. I think it was Chambers of Secrets. No, it was Sorcerer's Stone. It was in Sorcerer's Stone where they Ron, Harry, and Hermione go up into the attic and they see I forget the dog's name, Hagrid's dog's name, the Cerebus. Uh but the dog is sleeping on top of the hatch that leads them into the rest of the dungeon that they explore, and they have to put it to sleep because otherwise it's like, I mean, it was technically always asleep, but like one head was kind of like on guard ish, and that's why I woke up and like caught them. But we have something like that where Hydra is protecting something, and the party's given an item to try to put the last head to sleep. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. So quest idea one. All right, it's not what I want to do. All right, quest idea one. We have Hydra is protecting cave entrance, loot, rare flower slash MacGuffin, MacGuffin. I don't know. Whatever. It's a made up word, anyways. Yeah, and party can either fight it straight on or use the given item slash method to put that last head to sleep to sneak by. Because this is going to be a elite quest, and this is supposed to be a challenge for a party at level 5. Does it have it does not have a save DC yet. Level 5, you have 1 ASI. For players, their saving throws are like 13, 14 at this point. I think. Okay, so level 4. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say. So we'll give it a DC 15. Ooh, but it has massive constitution. Hmm. Because this would be a Constitution saving throw. Unless it wasn't a sleep effect, we called it a charm effect. Because again, it's one of those weird things like in D&D, it's very wording specific. Depending on what words you use, it actually has very different connotations on how things are supposed to play out because each different wording actually kind of like calls for or impacts a different aspect of the stat block, which is where you get like the memes about rule lawyers in D&D and how they can not necessarily like ruin the game per se, but how they will be able to like completely work around and not screw over, but like break things just because of like very finite wordings on certain aspects. Because like if we use the word sleep or charm, it has a very different meaning for elf characters because they can't be magically put to sleep or charmed. Or I think they have advantage on charm against being charmed, but they can't magically be put to sleep. So there's things like that where it's like if we want to be extra, we can say because of wakeful, we're not putting it to sleep, but we are in fact charming it to kind of hypnotize it, to neutralize it. And because it's a charm effect, most charm spells actually use charisma as their saving throw. So in this situation, it would have a only +2. No, because it has no proficiency. It would be a -2 to the saving throw, which would actually go really well with this quest idea because the whole point is this method is supposed to be one of the few methods that will allow us to sneak around the Hydra. So we'll give it DC. If we do DC 14, it's a -2. 15. Yeah. Okay. So we do that where Hydra has to roll uh, charisma DC 15 to resist the charm method to allow the party to try to sneak by um, this Hydra and reach the next portion. So like quest one idea is very simple. Like whatever fits your current campaign is going to be protecting a cave, either to the next location or some kind of dungeon entrance. It could just be Hydra in the mountains that is, sitting maybe at the, there's a bunch of loot in the lake that the Hydra is kind of like napping in. And this is how you sneak past the Hydra to collect the loot from the lake. Um, you could also just do like large clearing in the in the mountains. We have some type of rare flower or some other MacGuffin that is necessary for either the main quest or some other side quest or some character story plot or lore that is in these mountains and the Hydra is protecting it, whatever it is, and uh, either the party can straight up fight it or try to sneak around with this charm. Hydra repeats save every every round. Assuming so that if as a DM you decide because in a situation like this I always prefer to go all right team here moving forward because there is a chance for combat to initiate. I still have everyone roll initiative even if like they successfully did charm or sleep like the entire enemy party. Just so I have a order of operation of everyone's actions on the off chance that someone's actions does something stupid or they knock something over and it wakes up the enemies. That way like we already have kind of like a turn of order of how everything is happening and going dog dig, especially if they're using spells like sleep or whatever where it has a limited time effects on the enemies. I like to keep it helps me also like keep track of how many turns are left for something like that. So I repeat save every round. So they're most likely, again, they should fail every single round. However, every round, if party is touching or interacting directly with the Hydra, Hydra gets advantage on the save. Yeah, we won't give it a bonus. We'll just give it advantage, which is essentially the equivalent of a +5 on its roll. I think if I remember correctly, that's how like the math breaks down. Yeah, okay. So party can try to sneak past the Hydra. Hydra is going to constantly be rolling against whatever the charm effect is if they try to sneak past it, which should add a little bit of fun and dynamicism to this encounter because now the party is constantly seeing, oh, are we going to get away with this? Are we actually going to, be able to sneak past this? And it should kind of keep the party not necessarily on guard, but, keep them kind of on edge where they are going to probably want at least one player watching the Hydra at all times and making sure that it isn't waking up and if it does start to wake up, that he can immediately alert the rest of them. Actually, yeah, like, because I don't want to just do it like a normal like slay quest idea. I think this is. I think yeah, we'll go with this idea where there is some miscellaneous object, item, entrance, thingamajig that the Hydra is more or less guarding and protecting or around, and the party needs to get through that region or get it, to something in that region with the Hydra. So I'm even thinking like in Dark Souls 1, you I don't know if you actually have to fight that Hydra to get to the DLC location, but I do know that there is a Hydra boss right like on the edge of the lake, and then past that you find like one of those crystal things that kidnaps a maiden, um and brings it over to I think his name is Sif? Seth? Whatever, the scaleless dragons, his whole mansion. And also behind that location there is like a portal to go to the DLC for Manus. So I think technically Hydra is an optional boss in that situation, but he's kind of like there at the lake protecting something. Dark Souls 2, did we have a Hydra fight? I don't think we had a Hydra in Dark Souls 2. We had a Hydra-esque fight in Dark Souls 3, but it wasn't a Hydra. I'm trying to think of other games that might have had Hydra fights and how they kind of like set up the situation. There's no Hydra type monsters in Monster Hunter. Elden Ring. We don't have any Hydras. Do we have a Hydra in Elden Ring? No, I beat all the bosses. There's not a single Hydra in that. We have hands. Yucky hands. That's it. So yeah, I think quest idea, something simple like this. It's a very easy, simple setup for the party, and it's very easy to personalize to your specific campaign. But I think this should definitely be an elite fight still. But this quest should lead into next main quest or progress a player's personal quest line. I think it'd be the best way to utilize this specific encounter. It shouldn't just be like a random standalone. I mean, you can just treat it as like a regular standalone, just slay the monster quest, which is fine. but I think to me it fits better if you use it as some type of plot device. Obviously, I'm more prone to making a plot device in a player's like personal quest line. I like I, for my table, I personally really enjoy um, getting my character, like each of my friends' backstories for their characters, uh, understanding what their goals are, ask them like, what is your character's like final goal, or like if they have an idea of what the final goal is, and then try to create quests and events in my world that will help them reach that goal or push them along to that goal. So, like in my current party, two of my players they want immortality. One of them is playing an alchemist, and the other one's playing an artificer. Well, technically they're both artificers, but one's going like the alchemist route, and then the other one's going the full machine army of mechanists route. And it's been super fun for me to come up with ideas and drop hints and clues for them to either find some type of elixir that would give essentially immortality, or something akin to it, for my friend that's doing the alchemist route. Um, and then my friend that's going full mechanist, the flesh is weak, replace it with the certainty of steel. Finding a method that to convert him from being a regular human to a warforged is super fun. Me and him have worked together on like different ways on how he kind of envisions how he wants to kind of go down that route, and now it's just up to me to give him the opportunity to like find those methodologies to find that. And I much prefer doing things like that because I feel like as a player, it is a lot more engaging when you actively feel like your character is reaching their goals and getting closer to their goals while also like pushing the bigger overarching story forward. So I wish I do things like that. So I'm more prone to something like this where this is a personal quest line, or something important to someone's like personal quest line. As for the setup for this encounter, I think it should be fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Not a lot of tricks in this encounter. Even in terms of tactics, there isn't a lot of like tactics. It is absolute unga bunga zug zug. Even with average wisdom, it's like okay, it can make the instinctual right choice, but it just goes haha. I'm big multi head monster. I go nom nom nom. How many heads does it normally start with? Okay, it has 5 to start with. Okay, so it gets 5 attacks initially. Uh, will attack one per head available. 5 initially. All right. So let's see. So we have 5 bite attacks. It's absolute zug zug. I mean, how much bigger it is compared to the players, it's not going to have any type of target priority. Howdy, howdy, Cypro. Dropping by to say hi. No worries, no worries. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for dropping by and saying hello. Tactics are going to be very simple. 2 int, 10 whiz, no brains. So yeah, it'll be smart enough to know it'll be smart enough. Smart enough to focus down whoever is dealing the most damage to it. or dealing fire damage to it. Because where it isn't a smart creature by any means, it does have some level of survival instincts. It should, anyways, and should know, oh man, fire is scary. It didn't live this long without, and not learning that fire is scary. So yeah, whoever's doing fire damage or whoever dealt the most damage is who it will try to target prioritize. Will trigger attacks of opportunity to focus on this person. So yeah, it will not think about or care about getting attacks opportunity. It will always just prioritize this person cut off one of my heads. They need to go down. This person's hitting me with a fire. They need to go down. One or more of its Hydra heads. It has more than one Hydra head. Has advantage on save throws against being blind. Okay, so in spite of this aspect, if we're going with this quest idea, and they do try to go the stealth route, this should be done at a normal roll, just because it's just the one head that is awake. Because I prefer to give the players the option to try to sneak around and do this versus having the Hydra just constantly be alert and ready for them and like on site just start attacking. I feel like that's significantly less fun and less engaging for the players because it does kind of just like pigeonhole them into only one method of playing and one method of approaching this situation. And I don't know. I like having options. I like having variety for my players when it comes to encounters. Even though I will always ambush them. Yeah, I mean they all are snakes. Or snake-ish type thingies. I don't know if this is considered a snake. Actually, are Hydra heads considered snakes? I guess they kind of are. Something about their head always gave me like alligator snapping turtle vibes, just with like really long necks. Yeah, like that's my point. It's like they always give me alligator snapping turtle vibes. Like, let me grab a picture of it. Alligator snapping turtle. Like, try to convince me that this isn't what that Hydra head looks like. Like that's what it is. It is a snapping turtle, an alligator snapping turtle for sure. Look at this little monster, and it just has an extra long neck. That's the only difference. Try to eat the other one versus common snapping turtle. Monsters. I think specifically because like it's iron scale, it also kind of gives me the vibes of it being more turtle esque. I don't know. Actually, I never thought about hydras that hard to try to determine whether I think they're more serpentine or if they're more turtle like. I mean, both are reptiles. Interesting. Um, for the setup for this encounter, depending on the quest, no, I don't think it matters depending on the quest. I think the only part that would matter depending on the quest is where it starts in this fight. Not necessarily the actual battle map itself. I think the battle map itself should always look roughly the same no matter what. So this will always be, because this is a mountain encounter, we will be in the mountains. I'm thinking like a clearing in the mountains with a lake. I always liked the idea of there being set up a lake or some type of like water based thing nearby whenever monsters do have a swim speed. That way they can utilize it. Clear mountains with a lake in the middle. I'm thinking like I forget the name of the mountain over in Alaska where there's like a large clearing where like there's a nice like big round like walkway around this lake. Uh I think it's I don't know if we consider a lake, but like giant body of water was in these mountains and you can like walk all the way around it and it's really pretty. Oh my god, I did that again. And it's really pretty, but yeah. Yeah. So I have this clearing in the mountains with the lake in the middle. You can choose to have the Hydra patrolling the outside land or sleeping in the lake. One head should be peeking above the water to breathe. So I'm kind of thinking in this situation, you don't have it like fully sticking out, but doing that thing like alligators do. Howdy, BP. Welcome on in. Where you do the thing where like alligators will like, is it alligators? I forget which animal it is that they will stick their head or like just like the mouth like just out of the water so they could breathe, but like the rest of their body is completely submerged. I think it is alligators. Alligators, crocodiles, same thing. I think it is those uh, giant dinosaur. Those where though, yeah. So you have one of the hydra heads peeking just over the water to breathe, so the party can kind of like wander into the clearing and be like, they said it was protected by a hydra. Where hydra? And they can kind of like look for a little bit. So you either have the hydra patrolling outside on the land. What is the reach? The reach is 15 feet. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I feel like that makes sense. Besides, they can hold their breath for an extremely long time. So I feel like, actually, so no. We don't have the hydra head immediately peeking out. We're sleeping in the lake. Someone in the party needs to have a passive perception of 14 to notice something in the lake just moved. Yeah. So we have the lake. It's still water. You have this giant mountain. They're up, yeah, kind of like in the cloud line. It's a little foggy. Little foggy in cloud line. Water, yeah, lake is still. Someone perception of 14 notices, hey, the water just moved, or I think something just moved in the water. Then they actively pass a perception check to notice that one head just barely peeked up over the water to, take big breaths so it can go back memes. Yeah. Okay. And now, yeah, so now the party can't just initially blow it up if they have it in the water. Yeah, I'm more so on the sleep in the lake, but you can also just have it patrolling. Or some situation where like the Hydra is about to get ready to go sleepies in the lake. So like they notice it going into the water, and then depending on how your party wants to go about it, ooh, you could have footprints. Yeah, I think. Hmm. I wouldn't want the footprints being initially. So yeah, the passive perception of 14. You either notice something. Yeah, maybe he doesn't notice something in the lake, but notices footprints headed towards the lake. Because I do like the idea of this clearing in the mountains. You are in the cloud line, so it is going to be foggy. So you're not going to be able to notice the footprints as easily. So 14 to notice footprints instead, leading to the lake. And then that's when they can just barely see uh, one of the heads just like kind of lazily, sleepily scanning. Well, again, like my train of thought was like if they're walking by the lake, water is completely still. Someone with a past perception of like 14 ish uh, notices ripples in the water. Kind of like how in Jurassic Park, Jeff Goldblum notices the T Rex because he just sees the water in the cup like quivering. And it's like, what the hell is that? It's like something big is coming because the water is shaken. You could approach it either way, whether it be footprints or the water shaking for like that, giant monster type feel. But we have perception 14 to notice something. Yeah, either the footprints leading to the lake or water shaky shaky. Little fog, little foggy. Yeah. Like I know some depictions of hydras, depending on the medium, whether it be like anime mythologies or whatever, they sometimes have hydra spit fire. Now that'd be a homebrew thing, but I've always liked the idea of them spitting fire or acid. But the whole point of Encounter Workshop series is we don't homebrew the monsters at all if possible. That way it's as plug and play as it can be for anyone who is getting into D&D, specifically for newer DMs who are just learning. So yeah, it's a little foggy. Line of sight blocked a little bit. Passive perception 14 to notice. Tactics is very simple. So the setup, yeah, it's garden something. Whatever you have it for the quest, it is either in front of, nearby, sleeping in, or sleeping on top of the objects. It's not necessarily going to ambush the party. It shouldn't ever. Your party should not be caught off guard or be surprised by the Hydra. The only situation I could see where you set up an ambush with the Hydra, if you want to ambush the party, have this encounter happen at night. Yeah, so if you want to try to set up an ambush, yeah, you could always just like say the footprints are on the opposite side of the lake, not where the party is entering. Yeah, something like that where it has to be like absolutely great. Or 50 hours of straight role play with no break allowed. Yeah, so it's like, because I'm always prone to ambushes. I like ambushes personally, but it's because I'm an ass to my party. So yeah, if you want to ambush the party, I think if you have this encounter happen at night, so have the have this blah 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 have the encounter happen at night by the water. let the party set up camp, and whoever is foolish enough to drink from the lake or shower gets a little surprise. So yeah, you if you want to still do the ambush because it does have 15-foot reach, you go. It's a dark night. Happen at night with no moonlight or heavy cloud cover. That way, there was large shadows, like the Mommy of Light fight in Terraria. Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah, kind of like that. Cause yeah, I'm thinking it's like if you want to ambush the party, you have them, you know, this happens at night. It's a dark sky, or as dark as it can be, or you just put lots of shadows over the lake. That way, the party is less likely to notice anything. They go to drink from the edge of the lake, or like refill the water skins, or something like that. But I need to right. It always has to be something innocuous. But yes, it's like have the party getting ready to shower in the lake or whatever, and because they are uh like interrupting the water or disturbing the water, that's what alerts Hydra. Hydra can potentially sneak up. So this would be a perception check. DC level 5 party. They should have a +4 to a +6 on average. Well, no, I guess it'd be like from a +3 to a +6 on average for their perception checks. So do DC 16 to notice bigger shadow in the water. Yeah. That way, whoever is going towards the water, you let them, interact with the water a little bit. You go, perception check. Party member instantly shits their pants like normal. Whenever you ask them, I think that's my favorite part. It's like the innate fear you could put into players just by going, "Hey, can everyone give me a quick perception check?" And then you go, okay, thank you," and then moving on. Every time I've done that to my players, they're like, "No, what is it? What do we notice?" It's like we look around, we start paying active attention around us. I love it. Okay, so yeah, and that's how we make the ambush, but still give the party a fair chance to notice it or not get completely bodied. So I always like to give them a chance to spot the ambush. I like to somewhat telegraph it if they are able to pick up on hints or if they're paranoid enough. Okay, so that's our quest. That's Hydra. Okay, now we got Chimera and we got Big Cat. These we don't need to come up with a quest idea. We just have to come up with some decent tactics, a decent combat setup for them. Alrighty, so Chimera, what's special about you? Ooh, spell turning. Yes, that's gonna be one of the most important aspects of this. Advantage on spell saving throws. That are not AoE. Ooh, actually, that's actually really important to know. Are you paranoid to play my game? I mean, my players are. They know that I constantly think outside the box, or I'm constantly trying to pull one over on them. But they also know like I do try to be fair. I do try to always mention things, or when I'm like describing the scenery around them. If I My best friend, he knows, but like if I say detail just like one time and I don't try to explain it more than once or give it too much like description. He's like, no, what is that thing? It's like you will describe everything except for the things we need to pay attention to. It's like you'll mention it and then hope that no one paid attention to you. I'm like, you are right. I do that. But I always try to give some type of hints about either potential ambushes or what type of monsters they should be expecting up ahead, whether it be, oh, you notice, parts of the floor are melted. You notice like burn marks on the wall and ash and soot and things like that. Uh, this is not AI. I don't know who the artist is, but so all the monsters I pull from are from the official D&D books. Um, just because, yeah, I know it's hard to tell nowadays. I know recently someone was commenting on one of my videos that I'm just using the basic stat blocks for all the encounters. Like, I'm not doing anything different. There was a reason for that. I'm pulling only monsters from the official D&D Wizards of the Coast released books for the pure reason of I want everyone to have these, not necessarily like the quote unquote same experience, but I want everyone who watches the video or tries to use these encounters to get the exact experience that I'm talking about. Because I know in the past when I used to look up like homebrew monsters for my party, I would Google like the Alpha Rex, for example, from Jurassic World, and there'd be like 8 different versions of the Alpha Rex at minimum. So it's like, all right, cool. If day one, when I was, planning the session with the Alpha Rex for my party, I click on like the second image of Google Images, which uses one version of the stat block, but I didn't save that image. I thought, oh, I can just pull it up again when it comes time for sessions. I go Google it again on day of session. It's no longer image two, it's image like 6 now. But my mind went, it's image two. I click image two. I'm like, this looks very different. This doesn't have what I remember. It could be significantly stronger or significantly weaker, and I don't like that. I don't want that to be the experience for people who try to use the Encounter Workshop series that I'm creating, where it's this gamba of did you find the exact stat block that I found? It's like, no, I want everything to be in the official books. Anyone who goes to their local game store or already owns the book can open up 2 page, whatever. Like for this one example, they open up Mythic Odysseys of Theos. They go straight to page 216, and they will get this exact stat block with all this exact same text on there, so they can know exactly what they're getting, and anyone can utilize this exactly how they want. And if you want to homebrew it after that, power to you. But at the very least, everyone has the exact same starting block, starting location. And yeah, so like this art is from the official books, so is not AI, unless the latest official books is using AI. But I don't think they are. I think because they do credit all the artists at the back of the book, I think all of it is actually drawn. But yeah, it's like I understand that it can be a little boring to always be seeing just the base stat block, but that is the main reason for this series is to give everyone a very similar or like as same starting place as they can experience, allowing you to homebrew on top of that. But it's also why I'm utilizing monsters that are significantly less common to see in most encounters. Like in Thank you for the hydrate as. Welcome on in, by the by. Um, I know in like the 5 years that I've been playing D&D at minimum, not once in any of the campaigns I've played in have I ever gone against a crag cat. I've never gone against the Therian Chimera, which is slightly different from the regular Chimera. Well, it's different enough from the regular Chimera, which is why I picked it. Um, the Iron Skull Hydra, I've never seen it. I've seen obviously White Dragon Wormlings, but the Crystal Dragon Wormling, I've never fought against that. The Grell Sidekick, Wereboars. You never fight against so many of these monsters. And to me, that is enough of a new flavor and a new twist for most people that your players should almost always be caught off guard because, as I said, I've been playing D&D for like 5+ years now, and for better or for worse, I have more or less memorized most of the stat blocks that are very common in the game, which always feels bad because I have to then constantly actively work against the meta knowledge when I'm playing to be like, all right, like I know we fought this type of monster like 25,000 times. So like I already know what its rough AC is. I already know what its weaknesses are. I already know what abilities it has. But it's like the player key knows that, but my character Will, he doesn't know that stuff. If this isn't his like 20th time fighting it. If it's his first time seeing it, it's like, oh man, I need to actively go, all right, how would, my wizard approach this situation for seeing it for the first time versus, me who like knows everything about its stat block. So I try to pick monsters that aren't utilized that way, people can't just immediately be like, oh yeah, I already know everything about this stat block. It's like, no, you don't. Because this isn't the stock standard bandit. This isn't the basic wolf. This isn't the basic boar. This is slight variations or completely underutilized monsters in official D&D books. Which again is what I think is super fun because it adds more flavor, more replayability to D&D. It keeps people on their toes and keeps people constantly engaged because you can't just AFK through the fight. Go, I already know everything about this monster. I don't need to pay attention to what's being said. Obviously, you should always slightly pay attention in case your DM homebrews something or changes, something about the stat block on the fly. But overall, there's a lot of differences. What's also cool about the Therian Chimera specifically is, technically speaking, it has different variations based on which environment it's in, and you can give it slightly different attacks for each one of those. So, like, a shark head, bull head, unicorn head, cockatoo's head, versus just the normal like lion, goat, eagle type stuff, which is what you would find like in normal chimeras. Like, let me pull up a normal chimera real quick. Chimera. I can't ever spell it properly if I don't mispronounce it. So yeah, like base chimera, it's always claw, ram head, fire breath, and bite. Like it's always those three attacks. Now we still have claw, head, tail, breath attack, all that other good stuff. But if we use the bullhead, it now has the charge effects, where if it moves 20 feet forward, it also does the additional headbutt damage of 2d6. If we give it the shark bite, so on and so forth. Like, I liked this one a little bit more because it spiced up the chimera and can keep the party a little bit more on their toes. Doing radiant damage, stuff like that. We can even change up the breath attack to lightning, water, poison, so on and so forth, or even necrotic damage. And then same with the tail. Like, I think it just adds a lot more flavor to a regular chimera fight. Because you tell the party, yeah, you see a giant chimera. They immediately go, oh, we're in no chimeras. And then you start describing the chimera. Like, wait a minute, that sounds very different than what I assume a chimera should be. And that's how you keep them on their toes. That's how you laugh in their face. You go, nope, never assume you know what I'm going to throw at you. Remember, dragon chimera doesn't provoke. Mountain version. Yeah, exactly. Like I love keeping my players constantly, engaged and on their toes because I will use like I don't even do a lot of homebrewing at my table too much aside from like magic items and spells, but like I don't homebrew a lot of monsters for them just because I use so many creatures that they're not familiar with, and they're like always like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's that? And then like after like 2 rounds of the fight, I'll then show them. I'll turn my laptop around and show them what the monster looks like, and like, oh shit, like that's what we're fighting. You know, they're like, I've never seen that. Like, what the hell is that? I'm like, figure it out. Fight. Unversion doesn't provoke attack of opportunity. Oh my god. All right, well, you guys can see my background now. I don't like that my computer keeps crashing randomly. Everything keeps crashing randomly. It's pissing me off. I can't wait for my new computer. One second. I need to check something real quick. Okay, yeah. No. I was like, was there anything I actually should have been concerned about? No, I'm fine. uh, okay, yeah. You go, snap, crackle pop Rice Krispies. There's more a matter of like I know on my laptop desktop I have a bunch of files that are named with my name just because I'm lazy and I didn't properly want to save them in folders. So it's like, do I have any of my actual important information on my desktop on my PC? No. It's all on my laptop. That's all I wanted to verify. I was like, oh no. Uh, but okay. Where was I? Scroll all the way to the bottom. So, yeah, the mountain version of this chimera does not trigger attacks opportunity. Uh, head attack. Okay. Body composition can be very different. Head attack, breath attack, and tail. So claws are always going to be regular claw attacks, but the head attack, breath attack, and tail attack can all be different. Can all be changed. So you can literally throw the Theron Chimera at your party multiple different times, and every time it be very different from the last. You know, the first time they fight it, unicorn head. Second time they fight it, shark head. Third time, bull horns, cockatiel's beak, breath. You know, you could just completely mix and match. And then there's also the differences: are they fighting in the plains, are they fighting in the coast, are they fighting in the mountains, are they fighting in the swamp? Obviously, it has like suggested, um, like body parts, like oh, you give it the ram head or a dragon head, so on and so forth. But you can choose to ignore that part. But just include the first part where it's like the coastal chimera will gain a swim speed and can breathe air and water. Mountain doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. The plains, blah 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 blah, such as boulder bear. Oh, it doesn't have a flying speed, but instead it gets resistance to fire and cold damage. The swamp version, it gets a climb speed. Yeah. So again, like you can literally use chimeras so many different. This specific chimera, so many different times, and still use same base stat block, and just constantly have it be fresh in you for the party, and they're always gonna be on their toes, which is super fun. I like keeping them on edge, unsure of what shenanigans I'm gonna give them. So two cons, two decks. AC 15. Fly. Ooh. Yeah, so we have a fly speed of 60, and we don't provoke attacks of opportunity. So this does open us up to more tactics we could utilize with this specific chimera. Spotify, where are you? What the hell? Why? Oh, why is it hidden behind that? Why isn't it coming in front? Weird. All right, let's change my playlist real quick. Uh, let's play some IMJ Kill. Artist Radio. Yeah, that's fine. Um, this over here. Boom, boom. Okay, all my stuff's more or less back up and fixed. So yeah, this opens up a lot more tactics. Now, it's still stupid. So it's not gonna have like proper target priority or be like super smart, but it is pretty wise. So it should actually have very good instincts in decision making when it comes to the party. Let's see. Does it take? I don't think it takes book smarts. I don't think it's raw intelligence that would be necessary for a creature like this to be able to determine big hulking muscle barbarian or big plate, click clank paladin is not who it should be focusing on. I mean, it can easily focus on them. It has a +7 to its attack, and it should easily be able to just tear through them. But it should understand spellcasters are priority. Actually, no. It would actually be. Its instincts should actually probably tell it that because of that wisdom, it should actually probably be ignoring casters because it goes, I'm literally borderline immune to magic. If the Chimera saving throw is successful and a spell's 4th level or lower, has no effect on the Chimera. Oh, baby. Yeah, no. It will completely ignore casters. Target prio. Never casters first. It doesn't care about them. And because this is an encounter for a level 5 party, the highest level spells they will have is 3rd level spells, unless they have any spell scrolls that are higher level. So every spell that isn't AoE that a caster will, yeah, no one cares about him. Any spell a caster shoots at this Chimera that isn't AoE has a high chance of murking them. Ooh, that's actually gonna be crazy. Relatable? No, not relatable. Don't say that, Demora. We care about you. So yeah, it will never prioritize casters. It does not care about them unless they are literally right next to the Chimera. Um, tactics. Hit and run is available. We're in the mountains. You're in the mountain. You have big, big hungry random monster who's swooping in, looking for its next meal. It is large, so it should have a decent shadow. I do think we have it. I don't think the party. It makes sense for the party to sneak up on Chimera or just see it casually on the ground. I think it should be flying. Yeah. Okay. Hero run tactics is available. Party can either spot it flying to nest slash lair in nest slash lair in on a rock outcropping to eat its meal. Get an ambush it when it's drinking water from lake. Yeah, it could. You could set up an ambush for against it. Yes, the party can either spot it, flying, blah blah blah, drinking water at river or lake to ambush it, or more likely than not, um, to ambush it. And then like that very obvious, like it swoops down and attacks the party first. Swoop down and tries to yoink a player to munch him. Yeah. It's like obviously the start of this encounter, very simple, straightforward. Either the party can spot it, track it to its nest and lair, and try to set up some type of ambush or trap for it, or just head on encounter from that. They could ambush it if it's drinking at a lake or a river in the mountains, or the very obvious, you know, they don't notice the shadow on the ground. Chimera is, it's got the munchies. It sees one of them, is like, snacks, and goes down to go munch one of them. Yeah. So that's obviously how we start this fight. In terms of tactics, it is wise enough. So if Chimera is opening combat, then it will start with breath weapon if at least 2 players are within range. If it's being ambushed but notices the players, who won't react but attack with tail attack once they're in range. Yeah, because the tail attack has a 10-foot range. So depending on which tail we give it, it will, if it notices, if its passive perception is above the stealth check, or if we roll a perception check for it and it beats the group's stealth check, it will let them get close to it, and then it will attack them with its tail, whichever tail we give it. Then, yeah. If found in nest, but it notices the party first and has ram horns, it will charge the first player, trying to knock him down the mountain. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit. I just thought of like the most evil thing, because if with this last one, that's like the most dangerous. That's like the most does it knock back? Blah blah blah. Target creature must succeed or be knocked prone. So it doesn't innately have a knockback effect. However, I feel like, again, any DM can easily just say, depending on how poorly, like if it was me, I'd say if the party failed by at 5, they get pushed back 5 feet. If they fail the DC by like 10 or less, or 10 or more, they get knocked back 10 feet. And in that situation, Chimera's nest is out on like some rock outcropping, kind of high up that the party had to climb up to get to. If it notices the party trying to sneak up on its nest or its lair and it's ready, and I gave it the ram head or the ram horns, it charges, instantly tries to knock off one of the players. If they fail that saving throw, it yeets them off the lair outcropping, and they'll just die to fall damage if they don't have feather fall or something else, or if they're not fast enough to react. Because like at my table, I have a house rule where if you were to take fall damage or like fall off a cliff or something like that, you can use your reaction and do a dexterity saving throw to try to catch yourself. Or like if two players want to work together, they can both use their reactions to lower the DC for one of them to try to grab the person that got knocked off, and for the person being knocked off to like, grab onto one of the other players. That way they can prevent being splatted across the ground. But let's see. We'll change. Trying to knock them. The Chimera will all will try to avoid being surrounded, keeping everyone either in a cone or line in front of them. If they try to surround, it will just reposition because of its flyby. Okay. Yeah, aside from tactics wise, like it's pretty much just gonna straightforward use all of its attacks when they're available. It'll open up combat with the breath weapon if it's initiating combat, unless it can knock someone off. Um, the cliff edge. Otherwise, it just opens up with breath attack when at least two players are available to get hit by it. But otherwise, it just cycles through these. If it's ever getting surrounded, it will just say, "Nah, miss me with that. I don't provoke attacks opportunity." And just constantly always keep all the players in front of it at all times. That way, it can maximize its breath weapon should it ever recharge. I mean, it should. It has a 33% chance of recharging every encounter. Okay. Mm, already feeling that one. Oh, actually, I love like how my brain works sometimes, where it's like I'll be listening to like one genre of music, and then I'll immediately like I want us to do a completely different genre real quick. Uh, 1 second. All right, got that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Oh, interesting. So whatever happens that crashed all my screens, um, really messed up my screens. Now all my screens layer logic is janky. I'm gonna have to restart my computer after this. That's fine. I'll deal with that on my own time. All right, last encounter, last encounter. We can at least get a good chunk of it done. All right, AC 13. It's got 0 AC essentially, but we're fighting 4 of these, so that's fine. 4 of these with a climb speed. Ooh, climb speed of 30, which means it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be a normal fight. We could put this in a much more narrow mountain pass. That way, the Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We don't put this in a big open field. We put the or like region in the mountains. We put this on like maybe 10 foot wide mountain pass. That way you can have two players side to side, or one player, one crag cat, and the crag cat literally just either jumps down, climbs along the bottom ledges or the upper ledges, and can constantly reposition itself because of its 30 climb speed. Ooh, yeah. We're cooking, we're cooking, we're cooking. Okay, non-detection. Can't be detected or detected by any divination, magic, or received through magic. Okay, that whatever. Most players at this level don't really have that capability anyways. Straight line. Yeah, so pounce, super nice to open up combat if they don't notice it. So if we want to set it up, ooh, and even has spell turning. Blah blah blah. Wait a minute. 7th level or lower. This is even. 1 second. This is only 4th level or lower, and this is a much harder monster. That's crazy. Pounce for prone. And bonus action bite attack. Like, pounce is such a scary thing in D&D also, because being knocked prone sucks as is, because now monsters have advantage against you when they attack. But certain monsters like the crag cat, it not only gets advantage because you're prone, but it also gets a bonus attack action for free essentially on you now that you are prone, which can just action economy wise really sway things because normal crag cats only get one attack each turn. This gives it two attacks so long as you're prone, and that can really sway the difference of an encounter because D&D 5e is all about action economy. Whichever side of the equation has more actions or more attacks that they can deal has a significant advantage, which is how I mostly balance all my encounters, along with this little, like guide. Spell turning, caster's nightmare. It's also stupid, but it is wise enough. Caster's nightmare, but we'll ignore them unless they're the closest or isolated. Let's think. What else? Yeah, that's the only special parts about this. There's nothing else that's really special about this encounter. The climb speed, the pounce, and spell turning. Non-detection is irrelevant, as I said, because at level 5, party members, let's see. I think Scry. Scry? Scry? How do you spell Scry? I can't spell Scry. Yeah, blah. Hey. Teleport. Spells. Scrying. Okay, so the spell's called Scrying. Yeah, so this is a 5th level spell. Anyways. So none of your players at this level are going to have this, or at the level that this encounter is set up for, will be able to do anything that will even be able to interact with the non-detection ability. Only situation I can see is like if they happen to have a magic item that allows them scrying, or if whatever nonsense quest you try to give them, they find an NPC or they make friends with a high level wizard or sorcerer who can scry for them. But they'll be like, we don't know. Ooh, actually, though, actually, fun little quest idea. Party sent out to investigate why people can't survive going through a certain mountain pass because it's interrupting a trade route. Investigate why trade route in mountains is closed or too hazardous. Hazardous. Yeah. Or too hazardous. When local mages scryed on area, they saw nothing but dead bodies. Yeah. So this is how we do this. This is how we kind of include this if we want to. On the area. So yeah, because if they can't be detected by any divination magic or perceived through any divination magic, hell, they can't even be targeted via it. You do something like, quest line like, oh, emergency quest, trade routes in the mountain. Well, what's going on here? It's been impassable, no one is returned alive, this and that, blah, blah, blah. We had mages scry on the area to try to determine what the cause is so we can, better prepare for it. We don't see anything. All we see is, bodies. Yeah. Okay. And then tactics. Whoever is closest. They're not smart. Whoever's closest / dealing the most damage in one round. So yeah, they'll just fight very simply. Just closest, biggest damage dealer, or isolated. Third priority, they always understand isolation is target priority. Will reposition often or break line of sight via climbing. So they will either climb up to use rock outcroppings to break line of sight. They will straight up jump down ledges and crawl underneath to break line of sight or get out of range if they can. You can set up an ambush with the climbing aspects where the cats yeah. Would they use a surround tactic? I think they do a concave. No surround tactics, but we'll use concave to fight. Yeah, I think they'll fight more in a concave way where they'll try to like surround the party kind of like on 3 sides, but not really all on all 4. I don't think that's normally how cats, lions, tigers fight anyways. I mean, in general, they're mostly like solitary hunters. They're not pack hunters by any means. So in this situation, they wouldn't be pack hunting either fully, but they would understand to kind of like overwhelm from one side. Yeah. Okay. Oh man. All right. So this is finally done. Now all the scripts are done for the next 2 vids. Now we just have to wait for a couple things on my end, record these, ship them on over to my boy Francis, and then we can start releasing these videos again. I think I will end here, as I do have plans in like 3 hours to go get some Korean barbecue with my best bud. Yeah, let's snooze these ads. I'm not gonna give you guys ads again because we're about to head out anyways. But yes, oh my god, this has actually been very helpful. I'm very. You can ignore those messages. I don't know. It's like I'm finding it a little bit easier to script these out and be able to talk it out on stream. It also kind of forces me to like stay focused instead of my normal. I work for like 2 minutes, watch videos for like 10 minutes, come back for 2 minutes, watch another video for like an hour. So this is helpful for me also. It gets me to get these things done a little bit easier. So then I don't know then if next Friday I'll do another work along. I'll see what my schedule looks like. But if we do another work along next Friday, we will be finishing up the homebrew stat blocks for Mocha and Nini that I've been working on for like a year and a half and just never finished. That way I can finish that video up also. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. Like, let's just go over here. Thank you all for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad that I was able to get a lot. I'm getting a lot more work done than I really thought I was going to be able to, which is really nice to say the least. Um, Definitely is good to get these things done. So the next Encounter Workshop series is can be finished up. They can be finally like put on the docket of things to start recording again because this has been a hot second since I've done so. But that's been for multiple reasons. But that's my problem to deal with. I'll get over it. Things should ideally get better, but they're gonna temporarily get worse. In the middle of May, there's gonna be another weird little break, but that's for other things. Yeah, thank you guys for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys are also to get some work done on your guys' end. Thank you for all the great ideas, Demara. I will definitely have to go back and write those down and yoink them, use them for myself. But yeah, I will be streaming again tomorrow at 3 p.m. CST to finish up Elden Ring to do the last two bosses of the DLC. Depending on how long it takes us to do those last two bosses, we will start character creation for Baldur's Gate 3. That way, next Saturday, we aren't spending 2.5 hours with character creation and can just immediately jump into it. If we finish Elden Ring really early, then we will also actually play a little bit of Baldur's Gate. But otherwise, we'll at least do character creation. But yeah, I think that's all I have on my end. No one that I know is currently online. Um, yeah, no one that I really know is currently online to raid into. So I don't think we're gonna be raiding today. But I hope you guys all had a great time. Hope you guys have a great. Thank you for the hydrate. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday night for Devora or Friday afternoon for those that aren't that far into the future. Hope to see you guys tomorrow for some Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate. But thank you for the stretch. It's gonna pop my back all the way up. But yeah, that's all I have for me today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your days and hope to see you guys tomorrow. Well, yeah, peace.